Here's a part that I customize for no good reason, really. This clearance dish here is for the distributor and all the plug wires. So I don't need these two holes, and I don't need this big moon out of here. It looks a little out of place. So I think I'm gonna reshape that to a more natural duct. I wasn't gonna make a video on this one because it is kind of silly, but it had a little bit of welding and sheet metal fabrication and forming. So I like doing that work, and I just thought I would share the process I went through to make that modification. It's got some compound bends in it, so here we go. Here's what I did. Basically do this, where it's gonna be planar right there, and it's gonna transition into a cylinder, like right there. So already I can tell we have to, see how this is bunching up? We're gonna need to relieve that a little bit with some shrinking. So I'm gonna cut some little slots in this because I know this is where the material has to shrink. So I just missed that right there, but I can, I can add some tape to that. This side here has just got a big opening. So rather than, compress it like it was, I'm going to probably cut this metal and just fold it out. So I'll undo this bend right here. Yeah, I've essentially got this where I need it to be. This part is gonna need a little bit of improvising, but when it gets into metal, I think it'll be a lot more obvious where to kind of bend it. So I'm going to kind of create this gradual shape here in some sheet metal first, something like that. And then this one, I'm just gonna bend that last and just try to make it fit the best I can. This is a tricky piece. Hard to get it perfect with just a piece of tape paper. It's gonna be lots of trimming to get this one done. Okay, we're reasonably close here. So now I'm just going to kind of mark where I think that bend is going to be. Pretty tight bend in this region, and then it's going to open up to a pretty large bend in this region. So much larger bend here, much tighter bend here. So this is where this material needs to shrink a little bit. Trying to create that little swoop to it. So we're starting to get that depressed area in the middle. So you can kind of see how it's starting to come together. So I'm just focusing on this upper bend right there, but it really needs to continue all the way around this. This part should be completely circular. So let's form a little bit more of that. Gotta be careful of that right there. We'll do it this way. I just don't want it to look like a patch. I want it to look like a fluid, curve. This is kind of an S curve. So from here, it needs to make an S, and that's the tricky part. So we'll just keep going. So it's close enough for me now to, start tacking it in at the top. And then I always save the last bend and last trim after I've already begun welding, because things move and we're gonna shape a little bit more and things are gonna displace. It's actually looking pretty good. I'm gonna start sort of dishing this down just a little bit more before I fully weld it in, but I'm pretty happy with it so far. So here it is with some primer on it, and I've got a little bit of filling to do here and there. There's a couple little, pits and stuff. So I'm using U-Pole Dolphin Glaze to kind of smooth it out. So this has to dry and sand and do a little bit of, like I said, spot filler. It came out pretty good. However, a lot of people will say this part is available, and it is. This is very similar to the part 1973. 74, this piece was plastic, and 73, it was metal like this. And I just could have bought one, but this is something that I just decided to fix on my own. Oh well. I also fixed other sheet metal tin, like this round piece had a crack in it. I filled the hole where the oxygen sensor wire goes through. So that should do it for the tin. Next up, the engine is going in the car, finally.